Hi there. It looks like we're live. I hope we're live. I wanted to apologize to any of you for any audio or video issues. If you are tuning in and you can hear me, please let me know. I'd like to know if the audio, sounds okay. So, anyway, I've been doing YouTube videos now for 15 years. The anniversary of this was actually Friday, but I kind of lost track of time. I got involved in some other projects and well, I forgot to do a video on it or even mention it. But yeah, 15 years of doing videos on YouTube. So the way it happened was I remember sometime in the summer of 2006, I was looking for some Daft Punk videos. And I was seeing that there were a lot of them posted on this platform called YouTube. At the time, you had to create an account to watch videos. So I did. I created an account. And then I found some other weird things on this YouTube platform that were kind of interesting. And it was probably around, I don't know, maybe November. I started seeing some new videos come out from this wacky DJ over in Wales who had like this poofy hair on the sides, named Jonathan Alaskans. He was doing all these really cool turntable videos. And I watched them and I learned a lot. And I thought, hey, this is a really cool concept. If I could do some videos, maybe I could, I don't know, show him that I'm out here too. You're not alone, kind of thing. Um, I didn't know how to do it, but one night I shot a few seconds of the end of a gig I was doing on some ski hill somewhere and posted it. And shortly after that, he contacted me and we became friends and started kind of doing videos, not together, but bouncing ideas back and forth and making video replies to each other's videos. And a whole community got involved. All these other DJs jumped on board and started doing videos too from all over the world. It was fun. That was the first year was like that. It was really neat. That 10 months later is when ADJ contacted me, and then I ended up in Vegas a year later at Mobile Beat. Didn't really know many people there, and not a lot of people knew me either. But I guess if you fast forward a year later going to Mobile Beat, I knew a lot of people. It was cool. It's a real community out there that we were able to, I guess, band together through this platform of YouTube. So I just kept doing the videos. The replies went away. A lot of the original YouTubers who were doing videos, the DJs, they kind of fell off. But I'm not the most popular DJ on YouTube. I'm not the most viewed DJ on YouTube. I'm not the oldest DJ on YouTube. That would be probably Jonathan. I'm thinking it was him who is still doing videos. And it would have been 15 years for him in, I think, October maybe? Because I was only a few months after him. But yeah, so that's the story. I've just been doing videos ever since. Somebody asked me today, a friend of mine, I was out to dinner with him, and he said, how does it feel to have made a career out of YouTube? I said, well, hold on a minute. It's not a career. Believe me, this is not a career. This, at best, is a supplementary income to the other things that I do, like, gig and things and consult and such. So, yeah, I have not made a career out of it. I haven't been that lucky. But what I have done is I've had a lot of fun, and it's been great talking to all of you. And there's no plan of stopping this. It's going to keep going. But yeah, thank you for coming in. Thank you for joining us. If you have any questions at all for me, please let me know in the comment section. I really don't have any kind of plan for this video. I just wanted to, I guess, what word am I looking for? Observe that it's been 15 years. And I want to thank you all for watching. Because without you watching, there's no reason for me to be doing these videos. I'm just doing it for myself, which oddly enough is how it works sometimes. I'll put a video up about something, And a couple years later, I'm trying to figure out how to do a task. Well, how do you program this, or how does this work, or how does that work? I'll Google it, and I find the answer in my own video that I've already done. I've already answered the question for somebody else. I'm really good at retaining information long enough to put a YouTube video up about it. I'm not really good about just knowing all of these things. Everything they do a video on. If you guys got a question on something, I'll figure it out. I'll do a video on it, but I don't necessarily remember, how to do it. I've got to go back and watch my own video to figure it out. That's how it really, really works. Um, let's see. Yeah, it's been 15 years. It's Nigel. Nigel actually was one of the first YouTubers out there back in 2007. He kicked off his channel, I believe. So he's been doing it for a very long time too. See, I stumbled across you back then, did the old Daft Punk demos, and it was great that you showed what's under the hood for live mixing. Thank you. I've been watching you for the last 4 years. Keep it up. I enjoy your work. Thank you. I remember there was somebody who would frequent the comment section way back then, probably a few months in, and said, this is going to be very short-lived because when it comes to DJing, there's only so many things you can talk about, and that's it. So once you've talked about everything, there's no reason to do videos anymore. Well, he was wrong because we're still here 15 years later. By the way, 15 years is a very, very long time. My daughter was small. Life was very different. I was with Blanca. I wasn't living with her, but we were dating. Yeah, life changed. When I was in my mid-30s, oh my God, I was 36. 36 years old. That's a child to me now. I've got a stepdaughter older than that. That's just weird. I was 36 years old when I started doing this. Yep, Simon in the DJ business. I don't know whatever happened to Simon. Simon just kind of vanished. He was a good dude. I like Simon. I heard he was doing some video production thing a while back. Yeah, I'm glad that you appreciate my thoughts and point of view on topics. That's really what I have to offer. All I have to offer is my take on things. You can take it or leave it, of course, but I will give you my take on things. Sometimes, and it's really weird, like during the pandemic, there was nothing to talk about really as far as new stuff coming in. And if you want to see a video go crazy, it's the video where it's new equipment. It doesn't matter what it is, lighting, sound, whatever. Those are the videos people want to watch. They don't really watch the videos too much about, kind of my thoughts and things on stuff. So I'm glad that you get something out of it. So thank you. I do those videos just to kind of keep it rolling, and I try to keep it interesting. I try not to clickbait you too much. I just started recently doing the thumbnails, probably, I don't know, maybe last year, I think I started doing those just because I felt it was necessary to do them. If I didn't put the thumbnail up, it just didn't jump out and people didn't notice the video. So I don't do them for clickbait purposes. I do them just to say, hey, I got a video up, and try to keep them in the same really crappy style that I tend to do my videos in. My videos are never polished or pretty or anything else. It's just kind of information. It's content, It doesn't matter what it looks like. I know Bar spends so much time on his videos, and they're beautiful. They're TV quality, probably, or cable TV quality anyway. My videos probably aren't even YouTube quality anymore, but I still do them. So thank you so much for watching. And I just took a nap, and for the last month, when I get up from a nap, my nose gets runny. So pardon me for just a moment while I do this. It's always right when I get up. It goes away after a couple hours, but after I get up, it does this. I've talked to too many new to DJing over the years with their heads in the clouds. It's always a point to see those people to your videos and give them more grounded perspective on things. Well, thank you. And again, this is just, that kind of stuff's just my opinion. It has, and that's all it is. I mean, doing this for quite a while. I mean, when I look back, gee, I came in with the records. I mean, we've talked about that. We're on to bigger and better things now. And it's interesting, I think, to have that perspective of the old versus the new. And I love the new stuff, by the way. I did a video last week where I was talking about kind of, how controllers are pretty much doing the same thing that records did, with some exceptions. I mean, there are some things that you can do with controllers that you can't do with records, like the key lock. That's pretty cool. I like that feature. That was science fiction when all we had was the pitch to deal with. If you sped it up, the key changed along with the speed of the record. That's a neat feature. There's stuff like that you couldn't do with records. There are other things, there's built-in samplers and hot cues and such, but the hot cues you could achieve with a record if you really took your time with it. You're really good with dropping the needle, but it's very easy. You don't have to have all this technique that you have to develop to do cool sets, cool mixes and stuff. And, of course, obviously, the convenience of carrying a controller and a flash drive or a hard drive or a computer is much better than all this crap back here. You take all this stuff back here and put it on a little teeny tiny micro SD card several times over. That's amazing. That alone is science fiction. So there's a lot of good with the new stuff. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, you like the Howie and Jay videos on DJ and TV? Yeah. I was doing them with John for a long time, then John got busy and he wanted me to do them with other people. So it just kind of became Howie and Jay. And Jay tends to take over the show sometimes, but the challenge is almost like trying to find a place to interrupt him or he'll actually stop talking. You can't control Jay. Jay is uncontrollable. Once he starts riffing, that's it. So it's a challenge every week. I've got to get my rest and make sure that I come in to, make sure that, I'm not half asleep or something. If I'm not 100%, I lose control of that show really fast. It's supposed to be my show, but it's our show now. Howie's show is Monday. He has many more people on, and usually, Howie actually ends up controlling his panel better than I do, just Howie and Jay. Jay from Speaker's Corner. He might as well be. He might as well be from Speaker's Corner. You know what? He would probably eat that right up if we took him to Hyde Park. He would probably really enjoy Speaker's Corner. Yep, Jay Brannon. Superstar DJ Jay Brannon from Swingin' Temecula, California. Pastor Jay Brannon. Not only because he's preaching, but because he is an ordained minister. So he can marry people. So Pastor Jay is just funny, especially when he goes on to his sermons like he does quite often. How's the Mustang? Mustang is, that's not off topic because Mustang's part of the channel. This is about kind of the YouTube channel. So not off topic at all. Mustang is good. Mustang is resting because of our Wisconsin snow right now. I really wish I lived somewhere where I could take it out more often, but I'm limited to weather here. It's January. I can even take the car out legally this month because of the type of collector car plates I have on it. In Wisconsin, you cannot drive that car in the month of January. But car's good. I've got plans for it. I've got a power steering setup I bought for it that's actually right over there. Still in the box. I've been saving my pennies for that. When I did that Welcome to Rockville gig in November, if you saw that, I don't like to talk money, but that gig paid ridiculously well. Not only is it kind of getting me through the winter, but I was able to buy some appliances and some car parts and things that I've been waiting to buy. So I bought that, and I also bought a disc brake set for it. So it's not running disc, but I'll have disc on it soon. So that'll be really cool. By the way, if you're here and you're watching, thank you for tuning in. If you wouldn't mind hitting the like button, I'd appreciate it. That would be nice. Don't have to, but I would appreciate it. And feel free to jump into the chat. Let's see here. Future plans for your DJ rig. Yeah, geez, I'm pretty happy with the rig right now. I've got it dialed in pretty tight. The mixing board that I'm using, I mean, it's been about 5 years now, and it's still fine. Pioneer hasn't released anything that I feel like is better than that for my purposes. So I'm still with it. Got the Evolve 30M speakers now during this whole pandemic thing, and they've gone out quite a bit. Most of the time I take those out. I don't know, changes. I have no plans. Everything seems to be working just fine. So I don't know that I need anything. I think it's good. Everything's good. And that's kind of the scary part. Sometimes when you get comfortable, that's when things happen and you need to come up with solutions. But yeah, right now everything is running well and the way I want it to. I'm interested to see, what's new in lighting, what people are going to come up with, because it's been the same thing over and over again for a very long time. I really liked what Ape did, but since then, I got involved with the Ape stuff 3.5 years ago, and I haven't seen many changes with that. But I'm curious as to see where it's going to go, what's going to be next. 'Cause I'm really comfortable with what I have, and I like what I'm using. But anything that makes my job easier, that's what I want to do. You know, if something comes out that is like, okay, this is going to be easier than what I'm currently doing, that's what I gravitate towards always. Do I use an external mixer or just a controller? I'm using a little battle mixer. It's a Pioneer DGM 450. It's 10-inch. It's 2-channel. Really good sound card. It's like a baby Nexus, basically. I am using an external DBX Go rack strictly for microphones that I'm running into an aux. But otherwise, it is MIDI, but I'm not using it as a controller per se. I'm using it as a mixing board and a sound card. So nothing against controllers. It's just that as the one-handed DJ, I might as well just work internally on the programs to do what I do. It's easier for me to do it that way than it is with platters and such that a controller would have. Just go ahead and I just use it. Let's see. I'm just skimming through here. Oh, on the disc brakes, just front disc. I've already got a dual master. I've got the prop valve. I've got the brake booster. So yeah, it's just gonna be front disc and a real simple front disc. I'm gonna be able to keep the rims and tires that are on there. Most of the kits that they sell, you have to get bigger rims and tires. I didn't want to do that. I want to keep it like as original looking as I could. So I went with a special kit that uses parts from later model vehicles, which is cool because like if I lose a pad or a rotor or a caliper or a hose, I could just go to AutoZone and buy this stuff off the shelf. I'm not like, I guess, strapped to like a company like Willwood or Bear or somebody to go out and buy brake parts from. So, did you first use the phrase practice and enjoy? Jonathan did. And it was shortly after I got on board, and he said it just kind of off the cuff, and he liked it. A lot of people liked it, and we had a talk. He said, "You know what? We should use this phrase as a sign of unity as YouTube DJs. Like everyone should be using it. Like, doesn't matter if you're brand new or what. If we watch a YouTube video of a DJ and they say practice and enjoy in the end, we know that we had something to do with that. So that's why I started saying it. Still say it. Don't know why. Nobody else says it except him. We wanted everyone to say it. We thought it would be fun for everyone to say practice and enjoy. So it's been kind of a weird thing over the years. A lot of people will come into my channel for the very first time and they'll say things like, "How dare you use Jonathan's phrase? You ripped him off." No, 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 no. Not, yes, it's his, but he gave it to everyone. We were all supposed to use it, but him and I ended up being the only people who are ultimately using it. Now, I think for the first year, a lot of people used the phrase, so it was fun. You'd find a DJ on YouTube, you'd watch their video, and at the end of the video, if they said practice and enjoy, we knew that it had something to do with what we were doing. So it was just kind of fun. Do I have Instagram? Eric, I do, but I have no idea how to use it, so I don't. Isn't that terrible? Brian, I like how you shared some records in your videos. It was very helpful. Just wondering how many records actually do you have in your collection right now? I don't know. I don't know. If I had to guess, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe 3,000. I don't know. I've been entering records into Discogs slowly when I have time. I'm not at 2,000 yet, but I'm not halfway down the rack yet. So I don't know. Maybe a little more than that. I don't know how many. I don't know. There's a lot. I've never really counted them. But as I enter them into Discogs, it gives me a count and a value and all that. So, but I haven't done it in a while. He plans for gig. Yeah, I got gig logs coming up. In fact, I've got a gig on the 29th I'm doing. It's a small one. It's a school, so there won't be a lot of like dancing shots in it, but I do have a gig on the 29th. I was going to have Art come with me because it's 400 kids. It's Cedarburg High. I really like working in Cedarburg High. Whenever you see me doing a school job, I was doing them, I guess, last fall at Cedarburg. It's like the one school in the area I'll do. I really like the kids and the faculty. They're just good. I wouldn't do like a Milwaukee public school thing. No, no, just I'd rather do anything but that. Those are difficult kids to work with, but these are good kids. I've worked with them for several years. It's a good community. Pays fine. But I do have to bring the big EKX rig out, which isn't really big, but for a one-armed guy, it's kind of difficult. I can pull those speakers by myself. It's nice if I have help. I was gonna have Art come. He usually does, but he cannot. So I will be doing that one by myself, and that's on the 29th. It's a winter formal. I don't know that there's anything for February. It's weird right now with Wisconsin. It's being cold and not a lot going on. Plus, that elephant in the room with the COVID thing coming back. But I do have the one on the 29th, so stay tuned for that. I've already booked, I don't know, a handful of jobs for this year coming up, and that's usually how it works for me. I'm not that guy who books weddings a year in advance. I'm the guy who books weddings 6 months in advance. And if I book a year in advance, it's kind of weird. So I've got, I don't know, the one I have on the books that's the furthest out is October. There's some stuff for June and July, I believe. Some May will fill in. It just always does. It's going to slowly fill in. I get several texts from my agent a week for jobs, and most of the time, it's back and forth on to hey, okay, do you want to do this job at this place on this date? It's like, okay, tell me more before I agree to this. There's a lot of those conversations that happen. Um, but yeah, so I will be doing gig logs. Absolutely. Let's see here. What else do we have? I don't want to skip over anything. Oh, you're in Bayview. Okay, are you in like the city of Bayview or are you in the Milwaukee neighborhood of Bayview, Orlando? Because there is a city called Bayview and it's like way up by Lake Superior. And then there's a neighborhood in Bayview in Milwaukee called Bayview. That's where I am. So I'm like Milwaukee Bayview. Um, let's see here. Yeah, I do got a pretty strong arm. Let's see. I'm trying to hit all the questions here. Are you going to use those American Audio arrays? Yeah, I'm going to use one for sure. It'll be in the shop when I'm working on that Mustang because I got a Maui 5 Go out there right now. And, in the summertime when I'm wrenching or we have people out there at mom's place for cookouts and things, that's what we're using. I'm going to start using that. Doesn't mean that I won't take it out somewhere too. It's a cool little speaker. Especially for the money. It's a real cool little speaker. If you're looking for something for a cocktail or a ceremony and don't have a lot of money, you can't really go wrong with it. Speaking of the battery powered speakers, remember the Apex 12? That was the Apex 12 Go BT. That was the 12-inch speaker with the battery in it that I think they released it like a year and a half ago. American Audio did. That's a nice speaker too. If you're looking for battery powered, I think they're like $250. They're not a column. Well, then you're in my neighborhood, Orlando. What's up, dude? I'm right on Connecticut Avenue, so I'm right here. I'm right between Oklahoma and I guess Trowbridge, right in front of South Shore Park. You probably know where I live. My house is easy to find. But no, they're good little speakers. I'll be using them. This cocktail ceremony would be great. Oh, that battery powered speaker that I was telling you about, that Apex 12 Go BT. I loaned it to a friend of mine. his family owns like most of Chinatown in Chicago. Like it's a Chinese family. They're Cantonese. Um, and I met his wife through a mutual friend, and then him, and yeah, nice people. But so that speaker is going to be part of the Chinese New Year's parade in Chicago. My speaker. So I just loaned it to him for to use for that. He'll get his own, but it's really tough right now with supply chain. So I just figured just take mine. That way you have it, and if you like it, you can buy your own. Um, let's see, is Nam dead? They're having it in June, I guess. And there's something else called Believe in Music that's coming up. I think that's the online thing. And then June they're having the NAM show. I personally think it's a mistake because Disney's going to be in full swing. Hotels are going to be like non-existent. And all the companies have timed their releases for the beginning of the year for NAM. That's why Pioneer put their stuff out, the other day. And they released that controller. And so did ADJ with the column speakers. I'm sure there are other companies, but that was supposed to be the big release for everybody. NAM. That's how they've timed everything. That's how they do their projects. So now NAM's got it all screwed up. I know why they put it in June. I think I know why, because they're figuring, okay, if the pandemic lasts so longer, this gives us a 6-month buffer for things to get right so we can actually have this event. I hope it goes back to January, though. It belongs in January. New year, new gear. Disneyland, since it's right next door to the Anaheim Convention Center, it's not, you know, it's off season for Disneyland. So it's a good time to do the uh the NAM show with the hotels and stuff that are available in the area. Let's see here. What we got? Try not to miss anything here. Okay, we covered that. Let's see. They have video on YouTube on how to use Instagram. I'm sure they do. I don't understand the concept of it. I didn't understand the concept of Twitter or Instagram. I certainly don't understand the concept of TikTok. Maybe it's my 50-year-old brain, but can't we do all that stuff here? I mean, what is there that we can't do here that we can do there? Aside from it being shorter and limited, I don't understand it. If I have something to say, I can do it on Facebook. I hate it when I have more than one platform where I have to do things. So, for instance, I like a phone and I like email. Texting bothers me, and texting between different platforms really bother me. If I've got to keep in touch with somebody through Line and WhatsApp and all this, no, you know, oh, clients want to contact me. There's 75 different ways to contact me. I don't have to check 75 different ways for someone to contact me every day. One is good. Text, phone, messenger. I mean, or three is good. I don't know. I'm that guy. That bothers me. It just becomes more and more convoluted. I don't like it. So I'm sure I could figure it out. Thoughts on Gig Masters? I signed up and was curious if you get a lot of leads. No, I get nothing from that stuff. Nothing. I think a lot of that stuff's a hustle. I mean, they came along. Sometimes they were hot for a minute and they weren't. There were several different ones. I think it's all a hustle. I don't think there's a good reason to be on any of those sites, really, unless you're looking for an insurance discount. Off of Howard, yeah, right up the road. So yeah, we're real close. If you're off of Howard, think how's this Howard? I get Howard, Howell, and Holt mixed up sometimes. Howard runs east and west. So if you're off of Howard, you're barely in Bayview. You're probably in like Town of Lake or something, right? But yeah, I mean, I think they cut Bayview up before that. But I know people over there identify as Bayview. But isn't that Town of Lake over there? Somewhere over there? I think it's St. Francis on the other side of Howard, isn't it? Maybe? Or part of it. It depends on what section you're in, I guess. Thank you, JC. Thank you from JC from Mexico City. JC and I are friends. We have hung out. What else do we got? That's how I bought mine after I used yours for our church. Oh, I'm so sorry. I forget who YouTube handles are. No, No. Scott, you used the other one, I think. The ELS Go BT, I think. Oh no, you did use because it had the built-in microphone, right? You used the microphone feature, the Apex 12 Go. Yeah, I loaned it to Scott because they were doing a groundbreaking for their church when it first came out. It had the microphone. I'm like, I don't know if you want to use this mic or not, but he used the mic and it worked out fine for him. Yeah, that same system is going down to Chinatown right now. So let's see here. Howard and Howell. Yep. It gets very confusing for me. Howard and Howell. I have some really good friends over there on Howard, near Howard and Howell. They've lived there forever. I met them because I did their wedding in 1994. It was supposed to be Wavy Davy. He couldn't do it, so I did it. They were upset about it, but I did a really good job, and we just became friends. I've done their kids' high school graduation parties, but yeah, they live right over there near Howard and Howell. There's that bar there. I don't know what it's called now. There's a volleyball court behind it. They're behind the volleyball court. So, yeah, that's where they are. Over there in that neighborhood. Hello from Pasco, Washington, and congrats on your 15 years of making YouTube videos. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Looking forward to many more. Me too. Thank you. We'll do more. We'll do many more. We'll do as many as they'll let us do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go on Facebook and just tell everybody that I'm live on YouTube right now. I'm live on YouTube now. You know what? Let's do this like on my Facebook timeline and see if it brings anyone else in. I'm live on that video channel I use a lot. I'm afraid of using the word YouTube because I think Facebook filters those out. It doesn't want people to see anybody being directed to another platform. All right. What do we got here? Favorite club gig from back in the day? Boy, let me think. I don't know if there was a favorite. I mean, I worked several clubs, had some good relationships with some clubs. I did some really neat stuff that was probably more rock star than the other stuff, but I can't say they were my favorite. My favorite ones were the ones where they kind of left me alone, I think. It just let me do whatever I wanted to do. Safe House in Milwaukee was like that back in the 90s. That was tons of fun. But even before that, I mean, going way back, I was doing SMZs in Menominee Falls. That was the first video club I did. And that was when SMZs was a legit club. That was before it went to a sports bar. It was brand new. We had video walls and a real hip crowd and was like using Wolfram video in there. Plus I had, techniques and I had records and CDs and many, many formats I was bouncing between, but it was a really cool hip crowd out there. It was a nice suburban crowd with money, and it was a nice club. That one was maybe one of the cooler clubs I've ever done, but it wasn't my favorite. I didn't like the guy who ran it at all. We didn't get along. I knew people who worked there later on, and they didn't have a lot of nice things to say about that guy either. That's 30 years ago I did that, or more than 30 years ago I did that. I was probably 19 years old when I did that club, 20, something like that. Did it for a year or so, on and off. Well, thank you. Thank you for tuning in, Steve. I appreciate it. And thank you. Thank you, the Bollywood Indian DJ. I appreciate it. It's all, I mean, just add different music and it's kind of the same thing. Of course, I've done some events for folks from India, Indian theme things, some Bhangra and some Punjabi stuff and whatever. Some of the stuff has been amazing. The most recent one I did was actually the groom was from Nepal. Well, it's kind of the same music. I didn't realize that it really. I thought maybe it would be. The music from Nepal. I'm like, I have no idea what music from Nepal is. And I took some of his requests, but then I was throwing in like my Bhangra and Punjabi stuff and some of the Bollywood stuff, and they went nuts. They loved it. So it was kind of the same vibe. They just wanted to have fun, and once they trust you and that you're going to play the right tunes, they love you. And that was cool because I could go back and forth between Western music too. That was a fun job, and that was right before the pandemic hit. I did that one. It was at an old bank, and they had an old vault there, like a really old vault, like over 100 years old. And the photo booth was in the vault that somebody else was running. Jimmy, we love you, man. I love you. You're my dude. Always, always, always. And thank you for your support. Punjabi in Toronto. I know that guy. DJ Brian K. What's up? Brian's my dude. I always see all your records in your inset turntable desk. How often do you actually find time to mix? A lot of people ask me that. I was doing some loops the other day. In fact, they're on video. If you go back and you look, I think it's my last video. I was doing some stuff. I spent a lot of time with these records. I've recently been, I'll show you. Hold on a second. I've been buying these things off of Amazon when I can. I don't buy hundreds of them at a time. Well, I do buy hundreds of them at a time. Um, So I've been working on sleeving everything. So I've been going through the collection and doing just that. And while I'm at it, I'm checking some tunes out. And I've got new stuff I'm adding because it's really hard to always go in there and add every song in alphabetical order when you get it. I've got it broken down kind of weird. There's like mainstream stuff, and then I've got a 70s disco section, because if I want some disco, I don't want to dig through everything to find disco. I want to go to a disco section. I've got the same thing going on with freestyle. I have a freestyle section, and I do have a Chicago house section. Because if I'm in the mood to spin old school Chicago house, I don't want to think of every Fast Eddie song and every Mr. Lee song and every Marshall Jefferson song. I just want to be able to dive in, and pull these out and play them, like in a crate. And then I have a section that's all not only compilation stuff, but DJ only records. And that includes, prime cuts and funky mix and, dude, it's tons of stuff in there. And I got scratch records. I got loop stuff, beats. I got all kinds of really, really neat stuff back there. And yeah, I throw the stuff on more than you'd think. I do. And I usually use this deck right here if I'm just playing a tune. If I'm mixing, I use these two. So yeah, I use them quite often. I do. A lot of stuff, I've collected, handpicked over the years, and I still continue to do that. I get out and shop when I can and buy new things. A couple of times, unfortunately, I've lost some friends, and when I do, I'm the guy that gets the records. So I've got some cool collections that have commingled into my collection. It's become one. Scott's here, our mutual friend, Mike Guy. He passed away right before my father did, almost 4 years ago, and his collection is now part of my collection. I couldn't tell you what was Mike's and what was mine anymore. It's so commingled into that. I mean, yeah, individual ones I can say, oh yeah, one of Mike's records, but it's all part of the same collection. I don't keep that stuff separate. I commingle it because just like his records are kind of, part of the collection, they're now, since, part of me. It's all the same thing. Mike's gone. Mike's a part of me now. His record collection is a part of my record collection now. We are the same. Yeah, I don't know. It's just my weird mystical thing that I do that I believe. His standing out in the blizzard for now. Marvin, what are you doing, man? Got snow. I heard there's a lot of snow on the East Coast right now, and I'm really sorry to hear that. We've gotten it easy this year. We've gotten a couple mild snowfalls. It hasn't been anything crazy though. We haven't had any crazy ice or crazy snow. Snow thrower's ready, and I'll use it when it comes. But we've had it light this year. I'm really sorry you guys are getting nailed. It sounds like you're really getting nailed. Chill room later, please. Yeah, I'll pop in the chill room, Jimmy. I'll pop in. Yeah, the Nor'easters. I hear about those. You guys get those up on the, what do they call it? The northern seaboard? Is that what we call it? Up that direction. Boston, New York, Connecticut, Rhode Island, all that fun stuff. Yeah, 15 years seems a lot longer to me too. Yeah, Connecticut, you're gonna get it. I saw New York was gonna get it. Let's see, what else do we got? Oh, Belgium. Thank you, Belgium. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Let's see. Yeah, just kind of thumbing through some questions here. Just going through some of the questions. Make sure I'm hitting all your stuff. I wasn't trying to create a big stir in this one. I just wanted to recognize this because like I said, kind of forgotten about it. It was there, and I was doing other things. I think I looked at it last week and I thought, well, we got a few more days, so I'll just do other things. And a lot happened because at the time, all I was thinking about were these records. And then my guy at ADJ contacted me and said, hey, got these column arrays. I'm like, let's show everybody what they're all about. Are they good? He's like, yep. It's like, then send them. So then that happened. And that kind of distracted me from anything else I was thinking about doing, including the, hey, it's 15-year video. So, yeah, it's 2 days late. James says, I'm working single-handed. Is there any hacks, DJ mods equipment that you have thought of that you wonder why they are not on the market already? When it comes to this, it's pretty obvious to me that people use what they're comfortable with. And it doesn't matter if it's easier or harder. They just use what they're most comfortable with and what makes them feel best, I think. I was thinking about turntables. I mean, when I was coming up in this, Technics 1200s were the ultimate end game. That was the best you could get. That was like the top of the mountain, was getting a Technics 1200. And I didn't always have access to them. I never owned anything. It was just whatever was at the club or the mobile company had. If the club had the Technics 1200s, that was a lot of fun. That meant you could do things very easily. If they didn't, you had to work a little harder to make things happen. You didn't quite have the spin up time, didn't quite track as well, things of that nature. Maybe the pitches weren't as accurate, so it was hard to keep a song even playing at the right speed sometimes. But that was the end game. And then through the years, a lot of companies have come up with, different things, including techniques. The Mark III, the pitch is a little different, and then we've got where the pitch goes faster. And then other companies come out with things. Okay, it's better, and it goes in reverse, and it has these pads on it. It does all these things. But everybody always goes back to the Technics 1200 Mark II. It's still the best one. Everyone just goes back to it. It doesn't matter. What else has come out or what they've tried to make improvements on. The OG is the way to go. And the weirdo part about that, and I'll do a video on this. I will. I think it's a good video. The weirdo part about the Technics 1200 Mark II, which is without a doubt industry standard stuff. Everybody wants them. The prices keep going up on them. Is that they weren't even made for DJs in the first place. Think about that. They weren't even made for DJs, but DJs liked them so well, they became the industry standard. They were made for consumers. This is a home stereo piece, like a really nice one. Techniques is the upper tier of believe Panasonic, kind of like Toyota and Lexus. Techniques is the Lexus of Panasonic, I believe. It's Panasonic. But yeah, it wasn't even 4 DJs, but they adapted into it. And now we've got all these companies making these controllers, which are doing a good job. There's some neat stuff out there, but there's no industry standard. There's no one controller that everybody looks to and says, that's what I want. Because it keeps changing, and the OSs keep changing, and the compatibility keeps changing. And quite frankly, they want to keep selling you equipment. But yeah, there's no controller out there that's 5 years old that's selling for more money today than it did when it was new. It doesn't exist. But this does. It's just funny to me. I just went on a rant. Sorry about that. But what I was getting to is, as far as what works for you, you got to figure that out for yourself. And the way and that's the scary part about it. And that's anything when you have a disability. No one's going to step in and tell you how to do anything. No one's going to tell you, oh, do it like this and this and this, and it'll be fine. No, you have to be your own advocate, and you have to figure out what would work best for you, and then make that happen. Put that into practice, or try it, or figure out what tool you need and make it, or buy it, or whatever you have to do. It's the best way to do it. Because what's going to work one-handed for me best might not work one-handed for you best. You have to figure it out. What I can say that I feel like I may have pioneered, I may not have, it may have had nothing to do with me, but when I was first trying to put together a system, everything was pretty big, but now everything's smaller. Now, did I have anything to do with that? I don't know. But the smaller, easier to carry, easier to set up stuff isn't just for guys with one hand. It's for anybody who just needs to make this easier for themselves to stay in this business. Be it a person who's a little older, be it a person who's got a back problem, or a smaller person, or a person who doesn't have a big car. They have to have a small setup to fit in their small car. Things have gotten smaller. So that's something, that I think has helped everybody out. Maybe I answered your question. Maybe I just started ranting on things I don't even know. What was my first video? I was on a ski hill. It was in a chalet. It was ski season, and I was hired to play there for a couple bucks. And I shot the video to get the attention of Jonathan, who was doing videos in Wales, just to show him I was a DJ and I wasn't just some idiot trying to get his attention. That was the first one. It's still there. I think I was playing like an AC/DC "You Shook Me All Night Long" thing or something, and people were dancing. It was time for clothes. But yeah, that was the first one. So you 1200 hoarder. I heard you were going to be on the TV show. Huh? I've been collecting these things for many years. The one in the desk over here, the third one, is actually the 1200 that was in Safe House. I used that one when I was 21 years old, until I was like maybe, I don't know, 20, right before Stevie was born. That was the deck there. There were two. I took one when I left. It's kind of a parting gift. And the other DJ, I guess, took the other one. And I didn't know what happened to it. I recently found it a few years ago. That DJ had it, and he said it was for sale, and he wanted more money for it than I wanted to spend. So I wanted to put the two mates back together after all these years, but didn't. Let it go. Somebody else has it here in the city. But anyway, so I had one turntable, and I was able to play records on it, but I didn't have a matching 1200. And there was this young Albanian guy who bought this restaurant. In the basement of the restaurant, there was a club that somebody had made before he bought it, but they weren't able to run it as a club because it didn't have proper emergency exits. So it was a whole club down there, and he was trying to figure out what all this stuff was down there, and he was going to turn it into something else. He asked me to come down there and take a look at the stuff they had. Well, I went down there when there were two brand new 1200s in this desk that the last owner had put together. I said, "What's up with these?" Like, "Oh, throw those away. Get them out of here." I was like, So I grabbed them. I had these two beautiful, brand new 1200s that were probably purchased in the late 80s and had hardly any miles on them. I was so proud of them. And I bought cases for them. And I always thought, someday when I get a house, I'm going to, use these. I'm going to set up on a DJ system, like, I don't know, in the basement or something. And all these records that I'm collecting, which was a much smaller collection than that at the time, but part of that collection is still in there. I've been collecting records for, long time. I'm going to have this permanent setup in my home, like in the basement, a little corner that's mine. And so I bought the house, and all these dreams are coming true, except that has not happened yet. And then there was a situation, without getting into too much detail, where I was forced to pawn them. A daycare bill. I had to come up with some money really fast. I got nothing for them. Nobody wanted them. This is before Serato and all that. And I always resented that, you know. That just burned my butt. And I decided right then and there, I will never sell 1200s again. Oh, I will buy them, but I will never sell them. It's almost like uh like the psychosis I have with them. I can never have too many, and I won't sell them. No one will ever take them from me again. That's where that came from. Being forced to sell that gorgeous pair I had. But I kept the OG. It's still in the desk here, and that's why it's here. This mixer I have, this DJM 750, doesn't even allow me to use a third deck. It only has plugins for 2 turntables. I'd like to get something that has plugins for 3. The last mixers I had in the desk did, but truth be told, I hardly ever use 3, unless I'm just showing off the type of things that I do. It's very rare, but anyway, that's the story with that. Those are the turntable stories. Let's see here. What do I think of the Rev 7? I haven't really looked at it that much, but all that stuff to me is just it's just Groundhog Day. It's the same thing over and over again. I know that they've put the pitch on top on those. I've seen the pictures, and that's cool and all. But I mean, do you understand why the pitch was on top on records? Do you know why? There were 2 reasons people turned their turntables into the battle position. None of those reasons were to put the pitch on top. All of those reasons had to do with not only getting the decks a little closer by, a couple inches to your mixing board so it was quicker to mix, but it meant that any kind of scratching or mixing that you were doing, you were not in any danger of hitting the tone arm. So get the tone arm out of your way. Getting the pitch out of your way was never the objective. But on the new decks, it's on top, which is actually inconvenient. It would have been better if they'd have put the pitch on the outside. That would have been better than putting it on top, I think. But what do I know? That's my review on something I don't own. And I'm not going to do a dedicated video to that because I'm not that kind of dude. I'll leave that to other guys out there who feel like their opinions matter a lot and they need to make videos and do photoshops of equipment they don't own in their thumbnails. I'll leave that to them. Let's see. I had to adjust everything now that I really can't set up my gear. Yeah, I mean, help is good. But the one thing I always think about, whenever I add something is if I absolutely had to, could I? And that's the situation I'm going to be in with this school I'm doing at the end of the month. I thought Art could come, but he can't. It's unfortunately he's got something very important that day. It's legit. Normally he would be there any other day but that day. It's heavy. It's not ideal for me to set up by myself those EKXs, but you know what? I can do it. It's physically possible for me to do it. I wouldn't want to do it every day, but I can do it. If I take my time and I'm careful, I actually can do it. I put a video up on how I could do it because a lot of people were concerned. It did really well. I put it up last summer. Oh my God, I can't believe you're doing that. But how you? I show you exactly how I did it. I put a video up. This is how it's done. I use Frankenstans and smart leverage, and I can get them up in the air, safely without hurting myself. It's a struggle, but I can do it. So whenever I'm thinking about setup things, that's what I think of, because you never know. I mean, if you buy things, you have to have somebody else there to help you. Then you're always going to be dependent on someone else to be there to help you. If they don't show up because of an unforeseen circumstance that they can't come, what are you going to do? You're stuck. You're sunk. So therefore, that's why I try to think of it in those terms, if that makes any sense to you. What's up, Techno Dad? Um, High Voltage Karaoke. Hi, Brian and everyone. Just wanted to thank you for the vids. Thank you. Been watching channel for years, 54. Karaoke DJ. Learn a lot from your vids. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Marvin started with some Radio Shack boxcars. Moved, yeah, the SLB2s and the 1200s, CDs. Got the SLP12s. Yeah, you've been all over the place with it. I have been too. I've used some real crap. I mean, some decks were Techniques, but they were belt driven. I had some of those crappy Radio Shack belt driven things. Took like a turn and a half to spin up. But you know what? It made me a better DJ. Tell you what, you mix on one of those pieces of junk and you figure it out, yeah. Mismatched crap belt drive stuff, which we had a lot of. Not everything always matched at clubs or on mobiles or at the companies I worked at. Then someone puts a set of 12s in front of you. It's almost cheating. Everything just works. It's accurate and it's fast. It's like, of course I can play on these things. It made me a better DJ to have those limitations. And now people look at the 1200s as limitations. Like, are you kidding me? No. These were the answer to the problem, not the problem. You know. Oh man. Well, I'm not going anywhere, guys. I am not going anywhere at all. I'm going to be here for a long time. Doing these videos, it's fun to do. I enjoy doing them, and I appreciate every one of you for watching and liking and subscribing and all that stuff. It means a lot. Your comments. If you ever have any questions on anything at all, put your questions in the comment section of my most recent video. What a lot of people do is they'll put the questions in a video I did 3.5 years ago. I don't see those questions because I don't usually rewatch those videos. So, yeah, you're always best to put your questions in the latest video that I've done. And if I don't get it right away, put it in the next one. I will try to keep my eye on those comment sections to get your questions. That's where a lot of the inspiration from the videos comes from, and I appreciate it. So, anyway. Yeah, I'll turn this off. No, never use Freestyle DMX software. I don't do a lot of DMXing. You should know that if you watch my channel, I'm not a DMX guy. You should know that. And if I've used it, chances are it's on the channel somewhere. But all right, cool. I'm going to end this. Thanks so much for tuning in. Just wanted to observe this 15-year thing. Now that I can put it behind me and we can just move on and keep doing things. I will continue to try to put some cool content up for you. What's next? Who knows? Whatever hits me, whatever you guys have questions on, we'll acknowledge it and you go back and watch it, Mixwell. It's going to be here. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and turn it off. I've been on for almost an hour and I'm not really saying anything too interesting. But again, just wanted to observe this 15-year thing. So anyway, thank you so much for tuning in. Thanks. Really do appreciate it. It's a lot of fun. It feels good. And I'm always here to help. So we'll see you soon, guys. Take care. As always, practice and enjoy.